of artificial intelligence in the evolving media landscape and rural entrepreneurship. Before we dive into today's sessions, I would like to go over a few general instructions. Keep your microphone muted throughout the session unless instructed to unmute. Actively engage in the discussions and feel free to ask questions via the chat or during the designated question and answer sessions. After each session, the feedback link will be shared in the WebEx chat box. Please be sure to complete the feedback form before leaving the platform, as attendance will be recorded based on your submission. We will be continuing the session shortly.
Sharing my slides and to make sure that everything is okay. Okay. Let's share. Can you see this?
Yes, sir.
Don't seem to be able to move slides. You can see the changes in the slide changing, right?
Yes, sir.
Can you? Okay. Yeah. I'll just keep this on.
Moving on to our first session. It is our immense pleasure to welcome Dr. Deepak Padmanabhan, an Associate Professor of Computer Science at Queen's University Belfast, UK, and an Adjunct Faculty of Computer Science at IIT Madras. He is an expert in AI and has authored 100 plus publications and 3 books. His current research interests are in the political economy of AI and responsible AI, construed in the broadest sense. He is a senior member of the IEEE and the ACM and is a recipient of Indian National Academy of Engineering Young Engineer Award. I invite Dr. Deepak Padmanabhan for his session on fake news detection using AI. Welcome, sir, for the session.
Thank you very much. So can I quickly ask how much time I would have to complete this thing, and we need to have a lot of time for question answers, I suppose. So should I plan for an hour of talk and then Q&A?
Yeah, I think we can have a 1 hour session and 15 minutes for interaction.
Okay, great. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Shine. So the topic that I have that I'm talking about today is about fake news detection using AI. And I will not just talk about the technological response, which is the AI response to fake news, but also about several perspectives on the broader problem of fake news, because fake news is generally understood as a problem as a major global challenge that is affecting democracy, that is affecting public health, that is affecting media, as you probably understand, because the focus of this FTP is on media and so on. So let's just dive into this. Okay. So the outline will be this. We'll talk about fake news and its historical context. I will talk about a little bit about the interdisciplinary or multidisciplinary underpinnings of fake news, such as the relationship between fake news and cognition. And then about AI approaches to fake news, including with a focus on unsupervised learning approaches. We'll come to what I mean by that. And then I will also briefly touch upon some recent work that we've done on geopolitical bias in fake news detection. Then we'll look at some data sets, and I just included data sets because in case you are interested in pursuing some work in this field, then maybe you know where to start. And then we'll look at some of the intervention strategies and about way forward, etc. So fake news is understood as a global challenge of our times. And in 2016, and there was a famous election in 2016, and we almost had a similar election 2023 as well, 2024 as well. So in the 2016 elections that led to the Trump presidency in the US, there was a lot of talk about how some misinformation, disinformation, etc., affected the public discourse and could have changed the outcome of the election in substantive ways. So following up quickly on that, the Oxford dictionaries put out its word of the year as post-truth. And generally, what these dictionaries try to do is that they try to look for new and emerging kind of usage of words, and then kind of highlight it in the following year, just so that you get an idea about what has been going on. For example, in 2024, the word of the year by one of these prominent dictionaries was brain rot, which is about the incessant scrolling through social media feeds, which presents you with unchallenging content and so on. That is not very unrelated to post-truth, but I just sort of bringing it up because there's a connection there. And the Collins Dictionary also in 2017 chose fake news as its word of the year. It was post-truth for Oxford dictionaries, fake news for the Collins Dictionary, but pretty much the same thing, the same kind of phenomenon that we're talking about. And as you can see there, right? I mean, it is very much about media. It cannot. I mean, news is always about media, right? So fake news is not a new phenomenon. It has been around for so long, for quite a long time. Let's look at some fake news from 500 years back. There was this the papal conclave was taking place, and there was this person called Piero Retino, who was one of the candidates in there. So and essentially some people wanted to spread some they wanted to defame this person, Piero Retino, so that he doesn't get chosen in the selection process. And what they did was, what would they do? But 500 years back, there was no digital media at the time, right? So what they did was to basically go to the, write up leaflets, get them printed with defamatory content on this person, and then get them pasted on the walls, much like the posters that we have today, right? So on the plaza area, which is the downtown, the main area of the city, you would post these things and so on. So that was one of the very prominent instances of fake news during that time, during the 16th century. And as you can see here, there's a prominent sculpture. Below that, there's a bunch of defamatory content on this particular person that was posted by several people at the time. And this is, of course, a reimagination of what could have happened there. So, in a sense, this is an interesting. There are interesting parallels with today's fake news and the fake news over there, right? I mean, today's fake news is also heavily used in order to influence elections. I mean, there is plenty. I mean, every election is almost like a wave of fake news as well. So every election around the world has been subject to this issue, and fake news is also posted on places where people see. And these days, it might be in the Facebook walls. At that time, it was in the plaza area and the walls of the plaza area of the city. Okay, the downtown area or the main center of the city. So let's look at some of the fake news from the present era. If I mean, some of you might be quite young, but you might still remember this event in 2017, I suppose, or was it 2016? It was 2016, November the 8th, and there were a bunch of notes that were taken out of circulation, and these new notes entered our wallets and our banking system, etc. But they've not been taken away. But during the time they were brought into circulation, there was this big thing. There was this big news. I'll read out that news. The 2000 rupee currency is designed keeping in mind to eradicate the black money issues using state-of-the-art indigenous nanotechnology. Every 2000 rupee currency note is embedded with something called NGC, nano GPS chip. Okay, so this is fake news. Okay, but don't I mean, I think it's important to stress that upfront. So even if today you search in Google for NGC, you will get reports of this time. The unique feature of the NGC is that it doesn't need any power source. It only acts as a signal reflector. When a satellite sends a signal requesting location, the NGC reflects back the signal from the location, giving precise location coordinates and so on and so forth. And it could be kept up to 120 meters below the ground level. So my question is not to illustrate this as a fake news, in the sense we all know that, but what does it take to debunk this fake news? What it takes to debunk this particular fake news is knowledge of electronics, knowledge of maybe electronics technology, knowledge of technology. If you know enough about the technology, you can easily debunk this. Because if something is kept 120 meters below the ground level and something doesn't have any power source, it is highly unlikely that there is any way that it could reflect back any signal, etc. And this nano GPS chip itself, you can think about the technology. Is it? I mean, if there is such a technology, would it be easy enough to embed it in a currency note and all of those kinds of things? You can think about these things, and so your technical know-how is the necessary ammunition that you would need to have in order to be able to see through this fake news. Okay, and that is not very common, right? I mean, not everybody knows technology that well, etc. So in that sense, and this is like a very interesting fake news because not many can debunk it, right? And this was And you might remember that there were news reporters who proudly read this out, and they were discussing. There were evening discussions on November the 8th, 2016, about how these things could work, and how this is a pioneering new invention coming out of India, and all of those things. So you can see this. See how elaborately this was parroted. And if you look at another kind of fake news, this is yet another fake news, and this says that there was a woman who suddenly died with blood coming from her eyes, ear, and mouth, and nose, skin, and tongue. Before she died, she ate a lot of shrimp, but so did the rest of her family, and they didn't die. It turns out that the problem was that she drank a liquid vitamin C supplement soon enough after she ate the shrimp. So if you eat the shrimp and then drink a vitamin C supplement, and then you would, it would cause a reaction that will lead you to a death, is what it says. In order to be able to see through this fake news, you would need to understand what shrimp contains. It says shrimp contains arsenic, pentoxide, and so on and so forth, and there is a chemical reaction in the stomach and all of those things. So basically, it says that there is a chemical compound, and you no longer should. You should. It's not enough to understand the chemical reaction processes. It's important to understand the biology behind it. In the sense, it's a combination between biological and chemical knowledge, chemistry knowledge that you would need. You would not only need to understand that arsenic, pentoxide, and all of those kinds of things exist, but the quantities in which they exist. And in this case, the quantities in which they exist are so minute that they won't be able to cause any significant damage. So as you can see here, the fake news is easy to bring about, but then it's very hard to see through the fake news unless you have some very high degree of domain knowledge or very high degree of expertise in some particular thing. Even if you had expertise in technology, you would still maybe fall for this fake news. And you might even say that, maybe this is incorrect, but why risk it? Maybe I'll skip this. And so that is kind of playing in your mind. And this is an example from, he's a Kerala film star, movie star, and so on, who died due to cancer. So he was talking about a lot of suggestions to take 2 herbal remedies for cancer. So this was popularized through social media. I took the risk of trying it on myself and many other popular alternate medicines. I couldn't control the tumor, and rather it took me to a very dangerous situation. So this is to say that sometimes you fall for it, but sometimes you fall for it in ways that it risks your life. So in this particular case, Jishnu, the person here, actually delayed some of his medical remedies in favor of these herbal remedies, and that delay was very problematic, because essentially it led to his tumor spreading too much, leading to his eventual death. Maybe it would anyway have happened, but maybe it could have been delayed if there were more aggressive treatment and so on and so forth. But that's a different question. So let's look at the definitions of fake news. We have seen some examples of fake news. Let's look at some definitions. Fake news is what is intentionally false and shared via the internet. And that is a definition of fake news that was proposed in this paper, Klein et al. 2017. And Cohen, another paper from another author, it says that it's everything from malicious stories to political propaganda. And fake news is a continuum. Some news have some bias, yet others misinterpret, and some others step into misrepresentation territory. Do you know who used fake news as the word fake news very often? And that is somebody who has not left the public discourse. It was largely used by Trump, and Trump during his presidency used it quite often, and in ways that would discredit some narratives that he did not, maybe that was not to his liking, and so on. So fake news is a very misused word as well, overused or abused word. So we need to understand what it contains. And fake news could involve anything between misinformation, which is largely misinterpretations, and then malicious content, which is sometimes called as disinformation as well. So let's look at some of these.
म्यूट कैसे करेंगे इसको?
Pardon me? Is there somebody who's trying to speak? I'll just wait for half a minute. Maybe they're trying to turn on the mic again. Is it okay for me to continue? I mean, Shine or somebody else? Are we waiting on some question? I can only see the screen. I cannot see any chats. Can you hear me all right? Oh,
Yes, sir.
okay. Is it okay for me to continue?
Yes, sir.
Is there any question? Okay, no problem. Yeah, so I'll just basically continue, and we'll take questions at the end. Okay, so I won't pause even if I hear somebody speaking. So fake news has an interdisciplinary interdisciplinary underpinning. So it has one of the things that it makes use of is what is called as confirmation bias. So confirmation bias is where you is a particular psychological phenomenon. Sometimes it's called I mean it's basically a problematic psychological phenomenon. And it says that among the things that you hear or see, the things that you believe are the things that you value. Okay, so let's just break this down a little bit. Let's assume that let's say that there are two movie stars. I mean, I was thinking of using a Malayalam example, but now that there's a very diverse audience, maybe there are two movie stars and so on, and there is a highly polarizing debate between them, and you like one particular movie star. Let's call them X. And whenever you hear good things about X, you tend to think that reinforces your belief that X is superior. And whenever you hear bad things about X, you might think that it's a one-off thing. You'll leave that out and so on and so forth. So basically, what you value is what the intersection between what you hear and see and what you believe is the thing that you value. And in earlier times, when you had news media in the broadcast sense, what you hear or see is not very tuned towards you. It is tuned towards the general population. Everybody has access to maybe one of the top 5 or 10 newspapers that are out there, right? Or top 5 or top 10 news sites that are out there. But now we consume a lot of news through social media feeds. And in those social media feeds, you can be manipulated. It can be manipulated easily because what you hear or see is very much focused on you. You might see things that are very different from what others are seeing because your feed is personalized. So, which means that what you hear or see can be massaged in ways that it creates a big overlap with what you believe. And in that case, you will value your social media feed a lot. And if Facebook wants to compete with Twitter, they might as well make sure that they produce a lot of content that you value. And if what you value can be easily manipulated, what you hear or see can be easily manipulated, it can be manipulated to intersect a lot with what you believe, and creating an interesting phenomenon there to work to their advantage. And this is another cartoon. It says that an inconvenient truth has far less takers than a reassuring lie. So if you write something that is popular but not truthful, it is likely to get a lot of readership as compared to an inconvenient truth. And today we see this quite often, right? I mean, in the sense we are always susceptible to fake news in ways comforting fake news or reassuring fake news and so on. And let me walk you through a little experiment that some people did to point out the psychological underpinnings. So this was an experiment to study the persistence of fake news. So what they did was they took two groups of people, and to each one of them they told the story of a nurse. In this case, the name of the nurse was Natalie. So the nurse was a very good person. She used to be very helpful to patients and so on and so forth, and she was very kind and all of those things. This was told to both of them, but to one group, so to both the groups, it was told that. But sorry, let me just get this right. So to both the groups, it was the background was mentioned, and then to one of the groups, it was told that she's kind and all that is there, but also she has this interesting habit of stealing pharmaceutical supplies and then selling those things in the market. and then buying very nice designer clothes for herself. She has this habit of doing that. And then it was told to that same group that, well, wait, I mean, you shouldn't be believing this, because the story of her being a thief who steals pharmaceutical supplies is actually false. It was planted by one of her colleagues who doesn't like her. So don't believe it. I mean, forget that. Okay. So now one of these groups has heard about the the stealing story and also heard that that is false. The other group has not heard about the stealing story at all. Now these two groups were asked to rate the nurse on trustworthiness. And it so happened I mean, it so happened that the group that heard about the stealing story uh, and was told that it was a fake news, we're still rating the nurse as a very low trustworthy individual. So it is like saying that, I mean, well, you've heard some bad news, you have heard some bad things about the individual, you have also heard that it is false, but well, I mean, what if it was true, right? And that is the kind of thing that is playing in your mind, and you don't rate her as trustworthy as you would do if you had not heard the stealing story at all. So there are these two groups. One of them was exposed to this fake news and told that it was fake news, but they still have this fake news playing in their mind. So this is the story of the persistence of fake news. The first negative, I mean, there were two ratings in this particular thing, but I was simplifying the story for you. Basically, the negative rating or the negative story was actually influencing the rating that they eventually gave to this particular nurse. So now let's look at some other kind of fake news as well. So and the intents behind fake news, basically. Okay. So in October 2016, just before the first Trump presidency, the election that led to the first Trump presidency, there was this fake news that Pope Francis endorses Donald Trump for president and releases a statement. And a couple of days afterward, it was shown that it was said that it was shown to be false. And I think, if I remember correctly from those times, Pope Francis himself said that there was no such statement made from Vatican. So in November 26th, there was this election that was happening. So this persistence thing, right? I mean, even if you hear this fake news and then hear it was fake, it still works in your mind. So this persistence thing is often used very heavily in this election time fake news propaganda. And it so happens well, I'm taking some old examples because I don't want to be talking about the contemporary politics, but essentially the point here was in 2018 elections, I mean, there were WhatsApp forwards doing the rounds that one particular party will win most of the seats, but it so happened that they had a minority. They eventually got a minority of seats. So this is once again interlinking this fake news persistence narrative with the first past the post voting system, where you are likely to vote for a candidate only if they have a likelihood of winning. So you increase the likelihood of winning by means of the perception of the likelihood of winning by means of creating this fake news, and that eventually works. So in a way, the fake news is actually working out or playing out in the real world. So now let's look at another question. Who is responsible for the spread of fake news? So in the science paper in 2018, they conducted an experiment and found that falsehood diffused significantly farther, faster, deeper, and more broadly than truth in all categories of misinformation. So basically, if you're writing a fake news, you're likely to reach more people. And what is the problem, right? I mean, why is it happening so? And they looked at some two hypotheses. One is that there are these bots, bot accounts, and those bot accounts share fake news more than truth. The second hypothesis is that it's actually humans who like and share fake news more than truth. They were testing these two hypotheses, which among these is more responsible for the spread of fake news. And based on their empirical analysis, they found that humans like and share fake news more than the truth. That hypothesis is much more indicative or much more responsible for the faster spread of fake news than those of bots. So it's actually coming down to this human cognitive propensities or human cognitive fallacies that lead to a spread of fake news. So now the question is, let's go and ask this question again. Why do humans share more? Why would you share a fake news much more than you would share a real news? It could be because fake news is more novel. So in the sense, like, think of this, right? So you're reporting only the real world. In the real world, there are only so many things that are interesting that happens. And among journalists, there is a saying that you don't report if a dog bites a man, but you report if the man bites a dog, because man biting a dog is much more noble, it's much more rare, much more interesting. So if you want to make interesting narratives, you might as well depart from reality. In the real world, it's all. I mean, things are going on. There might be one particular thing where there's a burglary happening, one place where there's a verbal fight, one place where there's a physical duel, and so on. But it's not all over the place. Whereas you can create much more interesting narratives if you are in the fake world. So what they did was to quantify uniqueness. You compare it. This particular study compared a tweet to the corpus of the previous 60 tweets that the user was exposed to, and the difference was quantified using a variety of metrics. And they found that among fake news, the information uniqueness was significantly higher than among true news. So it was so fake news. Please mute your microphone, whoever it is. Okay. So information uniqueness in the case of fake news is much higher than in the case of real news. So the KL divergence is high. KL divergence is a measure of uniqueness, and so on. So you might be aware of it. Can the organizer maybe mute this person? I mean, there's somebody who has probably mistakenly turned on microphone. Okay, I will carry on anyway. So why do humans share more? Let's look at another aspect of it. Fake news might have a very different emotion profile than the truth. For example, there was this analysis that was done, which says that the green thing is the real news and the red thing is the fake news. So it says that fake news is much more surprising than real news. Is much more disgusting than real news. Is a little bit more fearful than real news. Whereas it has much less positive emotions. For example, anticipation, joy, and trust is much less in the case of fake news as compared to real news. So it kind of creates surprises and disgust, and these are the kind of things that you get worried about very quickly, and so you might as well be attracted to those kinds of emotions much more. So the story so far is fake news has been around. It's been more so in present times. It spreads fast. Fake news persists in the mind long after it has been shown to be fake. And fake news is more novel and has a different different emotion profile, not unique profile, different uniqueness and emotion profile than the truth. Okay. Now let's go to data science and fake news, which is a key part of what I wanted to cover. There are different data types of relevance for fake news. And so when you're trying to do some fake news detection algorithms, you're worried about how would you represent the data? What is the kind of data that you have? How do you represent it? And how do algorithms make use of those representations and so on? So if you take Twitter, or let's say X today, right? I mean, you have a particular candidate information post that you want to maybe want to see whether it is fake or real, right? So what you might do here is to take the information within this post, and what are the kinds of information that are available there. One is the source of information or misinformation, which in this case is the handle of the user. The other one is the content of the information or misinformation, and it could contain the hashtag, URL, image, and all of those things. Then there is also the context of misinformation. There is a date, time, and location. These might be useful to indicate what kind of misinformation is going around. And then there is propagation information, right? I mean, there are people who have retweeted this. There are people who have replied to it, who have liked it, and so on and so forth. So the propagation information could also tell you something about whether it is truth or false. So, but you might think that there is some issue with using these kinds of information. For example, if you use the source of the misinformation, if you use the handle of misinformation, in this particular case, you might argue that this particular person is more liable for misinformation than anything else. But let's say that you use this, right? I mean, let's say that an algorithm uses this, And if an algorithm uses it, it is kind of equivalent to labeling a person as being or as having a higher propensity towards misinformation as opposed to other information. So, and these kinds of things are very problematic to make, because there could be somebody who has been relaying fake news all the time, but suddenly they woke up to reality and they changed and so on. But still, the algorithm doesn't know that they changed, right? So it will still continue to label their tweets as maybe misinformation and so on. So this is almost like labeling a person, right? I mean, which is quite problematic. And when it comes to some of those other things, the problems are there are other kinds of problems, but the problem is much more pronounced when you use the misinformation, when you use the handle as a source of as a feature to represent information or misinformation. But that's a quick aside. I mean, we'll come back to some of those issues later. So there are two families of approaches. One is the AI approach, and the AI approach uses the assumption that underlying patterns can help telling apart fake news from others. So there could be patterns in the news which help you identify what is fake and what is not fake. Okay, so these patterns could be, like I mentioned, it could involve the handle of the user. It could involve patterns that relate to the content. It could involve patterns that relate to the propagation information as well. Whereas the DB approach, or the database approach, or the data-driven, or the data alliance-based approach, or evidence-based approach, if you want to call it that way, is saying that if a news story is not well supported by a knowledge base of facts, it may not be fake. So there are strengths and weaknesses to both of these approaches. And in the DB approach, let's say that you have a news, you might look for evidence from authoritative knowledge sources, like say Wikipedia or so. And if something is not very supported by Wikipedia, then you might say that it's fake news and so on. So there are strengths and weaknesses to each of these approaches. For example, the AI approach might be better at identifying emerging fake news topics, because the emerging fake news topics have not percolated enough into the authoritative sources. So if, let's say, Donald Trump makes a statement today, and you look for it in Wikipedia, you won't find it, right? Because it has not been enough length of time for it to percolate into these authoritative sources and so on and so forth. So, and the DB approach is kind of, one weakness of the DB approach is that you should keep the knowledge base or the database updated all the time, because you are relying on it being up to date in order to identify fake news. So let's look at some families of AI approaches. I'm sure you'll be familiar with two kinds of learning. One is supervised and the other one is unsupervised. In the case of supervised approaches, it uses labeled data in order to build fake news identification methodologies. And in the case of unsupervised approaches, it treats deviations from a common character as being anomalous and thus likely to be fake. We'll come into some of those details. I mean, no need to, if it looks a little bit jargonish, don't worry. We'll come to some example-based narratives very quickly. So let's look at an example of supervised fake news identification. So let's say that you want to, you're all teachers in some institutes or the other. Let's say that you want to give a final year project on supervised fake news identification. How would you suggest to the student that they approach it? One way could be to ask them to gather a number of fake news and to gather a number of real news articles as well. The fake news could be gathered from, like there's an India site called altnews.in. Altnews is a very interesting fact-checking site. And there are also global sites like snopes.com. So you can find them, you can go there, you will find a list of news that have been debunked by them. You can capture those and use them as fake news. And then you can look at maybe authoritative news sources such as maybe BBC or Reuters or whatever it is, right? All those kinds of news sources that you consider authoritative as being the source of real news. So you take these two categories of these two batches of news articles. One is labeled as misinformation, red, and the other one is labeled as real information, which is legitimate information, which is green. And then you give it to a statistical model. And the statistical model makes use of the patterns within the data in order to identify correlations with labels, right? And the statistical model is trained. And once it is trained, now you give it a new news article and it makes use of those pattern profile in order to identify a label for it. And the label could be to say that it is either fake or legitimate news article. Okay, so this is standard. Standard approach for classification. I mean, if you treat fake news identification as a binary classification approach, this is what you would do. So the methods adopting this approach differ in the kind of features that are used to learn the model and the kind of models that are learned in the process. So let's look at some examples. The features could be different, right? I mean, the features could include things like, for example, the credibility of the person. If the person has a Wikipedia page or has a blue tick against them, you might use a higher credibility representation for that. And also you might use things like the number of people who are following, the influence, and all of those kinds of things. So you can use those kinds of features from the source. You can use a number of features from the content. For example, there could be lexical features from the content, which says what words are used. You look at what words are getting used in the tweet or in the, I mean, I'm using tweet here generically. I mean, a tweet doesn't even exist now, I suppose. I mean, it's x.com. It's no longer Twitter. So maybe it's X or whatever it is, right? I mean, so let's say let's say it's a social media post. Let's say it's an online article, whatever it may be. You have some content associated with it. You can look at what words are used from the content, and you can make use of other kinds of stylistic variations in the content, such as whether there is a usage of past tense, present tense, etc. And you can make use of emotion information from the content, like let's say that there are emojis, emotional words, etc., or hashtags and URLs, the content of the photos that are posted along with the social media post, and the content of the videos as well, and all of those kinds of things, right? So, so that is the features from the content. And you can also use features from propagation. The number of people who have retweeted that particular tweet, the number of replies that has been achieved by that tweet, and maybe you can use things like the number of retweets that have been attracted within 1 hour of posting this particular of posting that particular tweet, and the number of retweets within 1 day, etc., etc. So you can make use of all sorts of information from propagation. And once you have all the features readied up, you can use a number of classification methodologies. And you can use maybe things like support vector machines, which used to be quite popular in the 2000s, but now it is potentially maybe neural networks and so on. But there are still these options. You can use Bayesian methods, such as there was a paper in 2011 that made use of Bayesian methods. You can use conditional random fields, which is another kind of generative model. You can use deep neural networks, which would be potentially the first choice if you were to do this project in 2025. And so once you have this, you have the entire pipeline set up, right? When you decide on how to source the data, where to source the data from, you decide on how to represent the features, and you decide on how to do the classification methodology, and then you have everything sorted out, and you have a fake news detection project, which could be a very nice final project, and you could demo certain things, like, for example, what news can it classify well, what news it cannot classify well, etc. Now let's look at something slightly more challenging, which is on unsupervised fake news identification. So unsupervised fake news identification is a little bit more is a little bit more trendy, if one might say so, because unsupervised approaches do not need labels for data. So you don't need to take the data and get it labeled by somebody, or you don't need to. You can simply take all the news that you get, regardless of which source that they come from, and try to learn some kind of fake news identification approach. Let's look at how it might work. You have a number of documents which are all documents containing news, right? I mean, each one is a news document. And you learn a statistical model. And what do you learn the statistical model for? You learn a statistical model in order to represent the major patterns that are existing within those, the important patterns, or the major patterns that are existing among those documents. So in that sense, you're trying to find the commonalities between those documents. You're not trying to identify how each document is different from others. You're trying to identify how all these documents are common. What are the common features across these documents? And you identify those common features and put them in a statistical model. Now you have a new document, and you run this document through the statistical model. And when you run this document, you profile against how well it matches up.
यार फॉरदन का फोन आया था
Or it is, can they please switch off the microphone? Please go on mute.
अरे हम तो घाट पे बैठ के सेशन ले रहा है, यहीं पे बैठा है।
Just please mute them.
ये
I'm not-
ब्रिटेन का क्वींस यूनिवर्सिटी में पढ़ाने वाला प्रोफेसर है।
I think they're describing what the session is to their friends or something. So can somebody please mute them in case they accidentally turned on their microphone? Okay, now it's gone. So I'll assume that it's okay. So the point here is, you take each of these news article and profile it against the common features that have been learned within the statistical model. And if it agrees with the common features, then you label it as true. And if not, you label it as false. And this is a common approach in unsupervised learning for fake news detection. But this is not so, this has a lot of implicit assumptions within it, right? Let's look at some of these implicit assumptions. So firstly, you learn the character of the nature of documents as the statistical model and identify those that deviate from the general character and label those as fake news. So any deviation from the general character is labeled as fake news. Now let's go back to the assumptions of this model. It presupposes or assumes that most news are not fake. Okay, it presupposes that most news is legitimate, and this may be violated in many scenarios. For example, if you collect news indiscriminately, it may so happen that in this polluted media ecosystem that we find ourselves in, you might be collecting a sizable number of fake news as well. So in that sense, you may not be capturing you may be violating the assumption that most news are not fake. Now let's look at unsupervised fake news detection, how it qualitatively differs from supervised fake news detection. So in the case of supervised fake news detection, you have labels associated with the news articles, right? And so labels are gold standard labels. It is somebody who is knowledgeable about it, who has labeled it as either fake or real. Now you have this information to guide your statistical model development. Whereas now in this unsupervised model, you don't have those labels. So you have only the data and the outputs. Earlier, you had the data, the labels, and also the statistical model. And the statistical model is guided by the labels as well. Whereas here, you don't have the label to guide it. So what do you do? One way is to use some kind of a meta approach, is to use some kind of an assumption about what fake news or what real news or what fake news would be. So let us say that you identify some dimensions on which fake news differs significantly from legitimate news. And you can identify news pieces from either extremes on those dimensions. For example, let's say that maybe if you if you have very incoherent narrative. Coherence is a measure of fake news. Let's say if you have very incoherent narrative, you might call it fake. If you have very coherent narrative, you might call it legitimate. And there are things in the middle where there is an ambiguity, where there is a medium level of incoherence, which means that you might need to differentiate it. So you can identify pieces from either extreme and then label them as fake and legitimate, and then propagate the labels to the unlabeled news pieces based on how similar to those they are to those labeled in the previous step. So you're making a mix of the dimensions as well as the data that you have. Okay. So let's look at some of these dimensions of variation. What are the dimensions on which fake news differs from real news? So fake news tends to, you might disagree to many of these assumptions. Okay, it's fine to disagree. It's actually good that if you disagree to some assumptions, it also indicates that you're thinking about how well these assumptions play out in the real world as well. So it's good if you can find some fault with these assumptions, it's even better. So one of these assumptions in this ICWSM 2014 paper is about fake news tending to have multiple propagation peaks, whereas legitimate news tends to have just one peak. For example, let's say that you have this fake news about shrimp and lime juice. Okay, and the shrimp and lime juice fake news could come in 2014, could come in 2017, could come in 2020 again, 2021 again, 2023 again, and all of those kinds of things, right? But if there is a real news, which is a news article about some real event that took place in 2014, it wouldn't come back again. You wouldn't say that this person died again in 2017, right? That won't be true. So if you have a fake news, it tends to have multiple peaks. Whereas if it's a real news, it tends to have only one peak. This is one dimension of variation that these people, Frigeri and others, used in order to classify, in order to identify fake news in an unsupervised way. So let's look at another assumption here. This is from around the same time. This says that information on a topic diffuses from A to B if they are connected, and B retweets A's post on the topic. Okay, so I hope you can spend some more time looking at it. Information on a topic diffuses from A to B if they're connected, and B retweets A's post on the topic. Okay, that is how you would classify diffusion. And the diffusion network pattern is the patterns of diffusion. And this says that the diffusion network patterns are likely to be different for fake and legitimate news. So here, if you look at it, the fake news diffusion pattern is a large number of singleton nodes who got the information from outside the network and were spreading it. Think of how you receive your news, right? And if you think that if there is something like the shrimp and vitamin C thing, you might forward it to a lot of people because you want to save their lives, right? You're a good guy and you want to save their lives. Whereas if you get a particular information about maybe a particular news about a particular university or something, you might only send it to your nephew or somebody who is looking for university admissions. You might not send it indiscriminately to everybody. So in that sense, propagation patterns or diffusion patterns are very important. So for example, legitimate news diffusion patterns are much more connected, but connected in the sense that you would forward it to people in your network rather than forwarding it indiscriminately. They come from people in your network. They're sent to people in your network rather than fake news diffusion where you get news from somewhere and then send it all over the place. So now there is another dimension of variation, and this is some work that we did a few years back. So this says that a set of articles posted by the same users at similar times through textually similar posts are likely to be fake. Okay, so this says that if there is an orchestrated behavior, if you find that a lot of people are tweeting the same thing all together synchronously with similar content. And I'm not naming anybody here, but I mean, there have been instances where a particular political party's IT cell engages in these kinds of behavior. I mean, there are other political parties, there are plenty of political parties that do these kinds of things. But essentially, the point is there are some instances where there is a particular news that is being posted, and that particular news has a typo. Okay, and that typo is there in everybody's post. They're all posted around the same time, and that mistake or the grammar mistake or the typological mistake is there in everybody's post. And this is what we're trying to identify, use as a thing about fake news. And this is an example there, right? I mean, you can see this. One of my distant relatives in Delhi who voted for AAP because of the low electricity bill was discharged yesterday. So this is saying that everybody is tweeting that one of my distant relatives was saying exactly the same wordings, and they're saying that everybody what is the likelihood that this particular person is a distant relative of everybody in a particular party, right? I mean, it's very unlikely. That could be used as a cue in order to say that this is a troll army thing, and troll armies are largely propagating fake news. And another one, this is some joint work with University of Calicut. This says that fake news is likely to be highly emotional. If so, we can amplify the emotional content, and then fake news and legitimate news might become better separable. So here we are playing with the representation. You take the representation of these news articles, the red are fake news and the green is real news. Take this representation, amplify the emotional content of the representation, and you get this larger separability. All the fake news goes in one direction because they are oriented with some particular emotions, and all the legitimate news goes into another direction because they're oriented with a different set of emotions. So it helps you classify them better. And this is the last one that I have in terms of dimensions of variation. When there is a fake news, there is a high likelihood that people will respond to it with a lot of inquiries because it plays with inquisitiveness or curiosity. I mean, 2 explosions in the White House and Barack Obama is injured is a news that comes about. But if people heard this from a lot of places, they won't be asking, right? They won't be asking this person things like, oh my God, is this real? Is this true? Or is it a hacked account? Is it real or hacked? How does this happen? Is this legit? And all of these things. If you see a lot of queries, then it is likely an indication that maybe it is potentially a problematic news or a fake news or a non-realistic narrative and so on and so forth. So you can think about what other dimensions make fake news different from legitimate ones. So maybe this could be finally a project for some of your brighter students. Like, I mean, what are the dimensions? I mean, they go and figure out whether some kind of pattern is available that could differentiate legitimate news from fake news. Could it be topical coherence, or could it be left or right political orientation? Could it be referencing of contemporary as against historical events? Highly confident or skeptical narrative? Would the style or the confidence in the narrative be indicative of fake or real? I mean, these are all things that you can use. I mean, you can explore. I mean, these are not very much explored. And presence of numbers or statistics. Typically, if you say that something is this way without numbers or statistics, that is more likely to be false. Or maybe you can say that that is the case, and try it out empirically. The presence of quotations, do they make them valid, or do they make it the case that a quotation is like sourced from somewhere, but it not well referenced and so on and so forth. So basically, the point is there is a lot of research that could be done in this space. I mean, it could lead to a lot of very interesting finally projects or research projects or PhDs as well. So I would like to talk about one particular work that we did last year, and this is with some colleagues from colleagues from IIT Palakkad as well as Cochin University, and one of my so Santosh Kumar, one of the co-authors in this paper, is also a speaker in this FTP, I think later on. So what we did was we were looking at geopolitical bias. What is fake news detection approach? A fake news detection approach, is it equally effective in let's say the West as and also South Asia? I mean, and if it's not equally effective, what are the dimensions? Why is it not equally effective? So we found that emotions were used to very limited extents in fake news detection in general. And we're thinking about why is it? Because we found good evidence for emotions to be very predictive of fake news or very predictive of whether it is fake or not. So, and we found that emotions were not very useful to classify fake news from Western context. However, when you look at emotions within Eastern contexts, such as China or some places in South Asia, etc., you find that the emotions are much more helpful to classify fake news. So today's fake news detection algorithms, if you look at the literature, it largely doesn't use emotions as much. And that is because emotions are not very useful in Western context. So we have this this cultural bias embedded within the feature engineering space. And if you're interested in this, you can take a look at this paper, Geopolitical Bias in Fake News Detection AI, the Keys of Effect. It's a very simple, it's written in very simple language. And it is kind of revealing to see how feature engineering, which you think as a non-political process, right? I mean, leads to some significant geopolitical bias and such consequences and so on. So today's fake news detection methods deprioritize emotion usage, making them less effective for Eastern context, but there could be other things as well. And this is something where we could produce a very unique research agenda as compared to I mean, the research agendas in the West and so on and so forth. Because we don't, I mean, the methods for fake news detection that are developed largely from within Western context, because the data sets are all Western and so on, don't quite work within India-based context, because India has a very different cultural ecosystem and so on. So how can we develop methods that could be more sensitive to Indian or South Asian or whatever African context and so on and so forth, right? So let's look at some of the data sets that are available. So there is this data set called LIAR, which is a textual data set comprising true and false news collected from politifact.com. Kaggle fake news is another one. BuzzFeed news is another data set. Wild Web tampered image data set is an image data set which contains fake images and real images and so on. And then there is also this thing called Fake News Net, which contains a lot of propagation information, context information. So if you're interested in this, you can take a look at some of these data sets. I'll pause here for 10 seconds just in case you need to write this down somewhere and so on. LIAR is I mean, you can find all of these data sets publicly. So Kaggle, Liar, BuzzFeed News, and Fake News Net. Fake News Net is potentially the choice that I would say would be, I mean, for projects of this era. So I hope can make use of some of these things. I'll go ahead now. Oh, there is ISOT as well, which contains articles. So now let's move away from the technology a little bit and look at intervention strategies. And this one I'm largely sourcing it from the EU expert group recommendations on fake news and disinformation, as well as the Science magazine paper on the science of fake news. Okay. So how do you intervene in this? Let us say that we have the best fake news detection algorithm. Should we collude with social media and ensure that they blacklist them? Should we say that, I mean, we have 100% accuracy? So, I mean, fake news today is, I mean, Facebook today is not very interested in fact checkers and so on. So maybe we can tell them, I mean, we have fired all the fact checkers. We have this 100% accuracy algorithm. Please use this. Would you be able to convince them? You probably won't be able to convince them. And the EU high-level expert group on fake news recommendation algorithms is saying that you should enhance the transparency of online news, involving an adequate and privacy-compliant sharing of data. So it's not saying that you should develop technology, developing technology and saying that it is a label that we apply using technology and so on is a very I mean, politically kind of a sensitive way of doing things. It's like saying that if you open a web page, it says that you have a blocker, and it says, so this website is blocked because we think it's fake news. It's not allowing you to make the decision, right? It's not empowering. It's like overpowering. It's like intimidating you in a way. So you might want to enhance the transparency of fake news. You might want to promote media and information literacy. You might want to empower users and journalists to tackle disinformation and foster positive engagement. You might want to safeguard the diversity and sustainability of, in general, the news media ecosystem, and promote continued research on the impact of disinformation in this particular thing. It was EU, so they were talking about European context and so on, but it's applicable anywhere. So if you look at the implications of data science research for fake news, an uptake of an almost perfect classifier is going to be problematic. So you might want to make sure that you have explainable decisions on fake news. You want to provide explanations for labeling a news as fake, rather than simply labeling it as fake. You might want to provide contextual retrieval, which empowers the user. So you see this news article. Why before you look through this news article, why don't you also look at some of these sources which might contain some context to assess the relevance of this fake news, assess the relevance of this news article and so on. So let's look at two streams of strategies. One is to empower users to identify and reject fake news. The other one is to reduce exposure of users to fake news. These two are complementary strategies. This could work together, right? You could empower users, and also you could reduce exposure of users to fake news. Let's look at empowerment. You might want to encourage fact checking. The idea is to encourage people to use credible sources and contextual information in order to assess the authenticity of the news they read. So maybe you click a verify button, and it shows a number of sources, and you can make use of that in order to make your judgment about whether something is fake or not. But the problem is that scientific knowledge from psychology does not support this very well. Social media echo chambers cause increased exposure to information aligned with pre-existing attitudes. So if you want to believe that is true, you will not click on the verify button. If you think that it's a political party that you like and it's a good news about that political party, you won't click on the verify button because it feels good to read that news. Why click on verify and spoil the fun? And confirmation bias. People would be less inclined to verify news that conforms to their belief. Desirability bias, in the sense that people would be less inclined to verify news that appears pleasing to them. These are all related. I mean, we can think about how you yourself consume news, right? Would you click on verify if you see the particular news that is aligned with your belief and is something that you would desire to see, and so on and so forth? Encouraging exposure to refutations is another thing. For example, alt news. This is a screenshot from alt news. So you clearly identifies the news as fake. It says using a big label that it is fake. So even before you see what this news is, you already see that fake label. So you don't maybe go beyond it. But there is a problem here as well, what is called familiarity bias, which says that if you've seen some news, whether it is labeled or not, You might remember that you have seen it, but you might forget the context in which you encountered, which means that you might think that it is true because you've seen it somewhere. So you could teach how to identify fake news. You could teach students about critical thinking. Now, for example, there's a news article from 2018 where Kannur district collector in this case teaches school kids to spot fake news. It was a very interesting exercise in the sense that what he did was he gives each student a computer, and then he tells them that this is a news article that you need to fact check. Go and fact check. Use any source on the web. Use Wikipedia or whatever, any source on the web, and come back to me with an answer and a reasoning to support your answer. And this kind of encourages fact checking as or scientific thinking in general. So the quote from the article says that the need to invest in truth, even if it means taking sides. The problem is that these kinds of things could persist as long as you are in a classroom environment. But would you do that all the time? You may not, right? And would this lead students into devaluing the credibility of news? I mean, in the sense we generally trust news, right? In the sense we generally trust what is there in newspapers, but that is kind of dwindling now. But that kind of an approach of where you have trusted people giving you news is a very interesting phenomenon in the sense like it's very comforting, right? That is what you want media to do. And if you become very if you become very distrustful of media, that's a problem because you don't trust anybody. In the sense, it leads to problematic outcomes in democratic discourse and so on. And reducing exposure to fake news, around 47% of Americans report to receiving news information many a time or often from social media sources. Social media is not owned by the states, so you cannot ask Facebook in India to implement a lot of controls because it's controlled by somebody, right? I mean, it's controlled by somebody who has their interest somewhere else. The easiest way to maximize revenue for social media would be to get users to spend more time on their site. And so this contradicts with controlling fake news. They might as well provide you with comforting news because that's a way to make you stay on the site. And comforting news might be more often like we saw in the cartoon. It might be a reassuring lie rather than an inconvenient truth. So the point is market forces. If you want to make money, you might as well keep people happy. And if you want to keep people happy, you might feed them what they want rather than what is in the reality and so on. So there could be very many possible strategies, and these could be things that could lead to interesting final year projects as well. Quality sensitive ranking. You rank web pages of high quality higher than others. You reduce propagation. For example, WhatsApp puts a control on forwarding to more than 5 others, but maybe you should do it more selectively and so on and so forth, or maybe in some other way. Reduce misinformation boards by crackdown on boards by Twitter. None of the above can be enforced without legal enabling framework. So the fight against fake news is interdisciplinary. It needs the law by your side. It needs psychology by your side. It needs politics by your side. It needs a lot of actors by your side who are not very technical either. So the liability regulation is one. This is probably the last 1 or 2 slides that I have. Can the platform be held responsible for content propagated through it? If you have a law that holds a platform responsible for content propagated through it, you can take it to court, right? And also, can the platform be held responsible for not stopping fake news propagation even after detection? If something is detected and still it is not taken down, can the platform be held responsible? So the platform is in like a social media platform. And can the platform be sued for not taking down a news that is found to be fake? All these raise interesting trade-offs, which is the trade-off between social good and the freedom of the private enterprise. So these are all things that are yet to be explored in a way. So these could be interesting things for you to explore as well. And the data science versus fake news journey, let's take stock of where it is. Combating fake news would involve detection, throttling, and repair. It's not just about detection. You would need to throttle it. Once detected, you would need to prevent it from spreading through the network. And even if you do all of those things, there might still be some fake news that goes there that propagates through the network, right? You should be able to undo the damage that they have already done. So if you look at this thing, right, if you look at this target where you would want to have effective detection, effective throttling, effective repair, that's a very, very long way for data science to go. So data science or AI has a long way to go in order to be effective against fake news. So that is largely what I have. So here stop with a little slide here. This is opening in for questions and comments. But this particular flower, right? It looks very realistic, as you can see there. It looks highly realistic, and this is a particular image that was put out by somebody claiming that it is a flower grown, it is a plant grown in NASA, grown in one of the spacecrafts owned by NASA or something. And apparently the flower grew up there, and that's how it looks and so on. But it so happened that it was an AI generated image and has nothing to do with any form of reality. So you see the kind of things that we are up against, right? How can you even think of think of identifying this as fake news and so on? So on the right hand side, I have this. I mean, if you're interested in some of these social issues, and if you can read Malayalam, which I think a lot of you cannot. I mean, I wasn't aware of the diversity of the audience that I would get in this. So it's a Malayalam book. It should be available in your nearest bookshop. It talks about AI and its politics and how it works in society and so on. It takes a critical look at it. So if you're interested, please give it a read, and not just read. Please criticize it as well. Yeah, you can always send me an email if you have something. So in general, regarding this talk, if you have any questions, please feel free to send me an email. So I'll here open it up for QA, and I'll let the organizers take over. And let me just try and unshare the screen just so that I can see all of you.
If any of you have any questions or queries, you can either unmute yourself and ask, or feel free to use the chat box. Anyone have any questions? You may ask.
Please feel free to type in any question in the chat box as well. I'm sure that you don't agree to all that I said. So, I think there's a question which kind of went up now. Let me just scroll up. So it's Veena Juice. So Veena is asking whether the data sets mentioned are publicly available. Yes, they're all publicly available. You don't need to pay anything either. So there are some data sets which are paid, which could be paid and bought, but the data sets that I've listed are all publicly available for free as well. So you can download them easily. Yeah. Thanks, Veena, for the question.
Any more questions?
Yeah, Dr. Deepak. It's from Dr. Shahid. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you well. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, see, fake news is something, see, how do you identify that? Fake news.
What is that again?
You should
Can
have
you say the question?
something sensible to people there, right?
Something sensible.
Yeah.
Uh, no, I didn't get. I mean, are you saying something sense? How do you identify something sensible? Is that
How they are ethically correct.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No, okay. So there is a lot of ethics issues in fake news. I mean, the sense fake news detection is a highly I mean, problematic thing when it comes to. I mean, there is a number of issues. For example, one thing that I mentioned during the course of the during the course of that talk is about the usage of the user as the handle, usage of user handle in order to identify fake news, right? So if you do that, you're essentially saying that this person, you're labeling this person as propagating fake news and so on. And you might also like geopolitical bias is another aspect that I briefly talked about, which is where fake news detection algorithms tend to be systemically biased towards Western contexts. But I've also, I'll just, if I think there are some other questions that also relate to these kinds of issues. Maybe I'll just paste here a link, which is a link to a chapter on the ethics of fake news detection. So that is a Springer link, link.springer.com/. So it's a it talks about a variety of ethical issues in fake news detection, of which there are many actually. In the sense like things like um, uh, so there might be some fake news detection algorithms which are good at identifying right-wing fake news, but not so much in identifying left-wing fake news. If you're talking about political spectrum and so on. So do you want to balance the accuracies across those things, or do you want to balance the accuracies across other things? For example, like there was a lot of fake news relating to Lakshadweep, right? I mean, you might remember a few years back. So those things are not something that we have been able to foresee. So those things are generated within the Indian media ecosystem, and Lakshadweep is a very small region. So if you go by, I mean, how do you ensure that there is no targeting of small populations or small groups and so on, because they gel well with the ethos of the broader population. So there is a lot of issues, and in fact, it's thanks for bringing that up, Dr. Shine. So it's a very problematic terrain as such, and in that chapter it talks about a few of those things for those who are might be interested in. So
I have another question also.
pardon me?
Yeah, I have another question also, because we had a discussion with the Times of India. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah. We did have the discussion in Times of India. Yeah, I mean that was
Yeah,
about last week.
I think about Jammu Kashmir issue.
Right.
It's a political thinking, right? There also, I mean, we need to have a. I think there was a question regarding how to connect
Mhm.
interconnectivity. Where is that?
How to
That's an
connect?
issue, right? Yeah.
Mhm. What is meant by how to connect? How to connect to internet, or how to connect to what?
Politically, there are different situations there
Okay.
in Jammu
All right.
Kashmir.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. How to maintain that? I mean, that's also an issue. We are from South India.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, there is a complete cultural mismatch between certain regions, and that makes it easy fodder to flag fake news and so on and so forth. And even like within Kerala, we have a lot of fake news targeting Malappuram, for example, right, for particular reasons and so on and so forth. So that's largely because the social reality of that particular district is not visible to a large population who are reading the news about it and so on and so forth. So it's whenever there is a unfamiliarity with certain concrete situations, I mean, it acts as very interesting fodder for various flavors of fake news and so on. So it's very interesting actually. I mean, thanks for bringing that up. I do remember the chat that we had with them, and it was very interesting, but we couldn't take it forward too much.
Yeah. I think the participants can ask a question.
So Amsavini, you talked about asking about bias using some examples, right? I mean, in the talk that I'd used some of this bias with respect to the geopolitical thing. We also talked about some of these biases in the response to Dr. Shine. So and I think if you're interested in some of the other kinds of biases, I have in that chapter I've listed a number of those number of types of biases. For example, there's something called majoritarian bias, which is where you pander to the majority, whereas you don't really. I mean, you could be targeting something which is what this discussion about maybe Lakshadweep, maybe Jammu Kashmir, maybe Malappuram, all of those things mm, mm,
Yeah.
point of view as well. Yeah. Mm.
And
Any other questions from the audience?
Any more questions you may ask? I hope we will conclude the session.
there is a question there in the chat box.
Oh, well, yeah,
No.
okay. So the challenges in developing an NLP-based system for fake news detection. So yeah, I mean, that's a very interesting question, but also very broad and remit. Thanks, Sonia, for that. I mean, I think there are plenty of, I mean, when you look at NLP, right, NLP is a very happening area these days because of all this generative AI and so on and so forth. And when you think of generative AI, the one thing that you talk about a lot are things about hallucinations and so on. Hallucinations could be thought of as a pollution of the information ecosystem in the sense that it is creating a narrative that is not true, right? But it sounds to be true. I mean, there is a thing about generative AI, right? So generative AI is very good at developing things that may be false, but which look plausible, which look feasible, which look, I mean, things that are likely to happen and so on. So while that part of the world that part of the thing has been strengthened, I think maybe the other way is to look at NLP in order to build some kind of internal resistance to hallucinations within NLP. What would you do if you were to build an NLP which is conformant to reality, which is not looking to provide narratives that are believable, but which is looking to provide narratives that are true, that are realistic, for which there is evidence and so on and so forth. So, so those kinds of things could be very interesting avenues for research. So you take a spin on the problem, right? I mean, you're using NLP for a different purpose. You're using generative AI for a different purpose, which is which is not to provide believable narratives, which is what generative AI is doing today, but to provide realistic narratives, which is a different problem. And so these could be things that are very interesting to explore. So
I have another question, right? The thing is, from South India, we think that we are right from here. And South India, we are right here, and the North India, we don't have that cultural differences there. How can you make that fake or something like that?
You mean the cultural difference comes across as a form of fakeness, is it? I mean, in the sense of, yeah, I mean, it's very interesting. Actually, there's very little work on connecting cultural aspects. I mean, there's a cultural studies is a big thing, right? I mean, there are plenty of big scholars, big names, Stuart Hall, of those big names over there. And how do cultural things come into play within NLP or within technologies? I mean, while slightly deviating from that particular scenario, let me just bring up a thing about cultural difference. Okay, so let us say that you ask generative AI. I mean, you're asking where do I find this book or something, a particular book. Okay, and in general, if you ask somebody near to you, they might say that you go to this particular library. I know that library has that book, or you go to that reading room and ask somebody, or you go to that secondhand bookstore or something, or you go to Crossword or somewhere, right? I mean, some retail store that goes to it. But if you might get a diversity of these kinds of opinions. Whereas if you ask generative AI, it will always point you to the branded store that sells the books. So generative AI is culturally biased towards the markets in some way, and that is because it wants to produce answers that are generally applicable. And the nearby reading room or the nearby library is a local cultural artifact. It's a cultural institution, and the general AI is completely ignorant of that cultural institution existing. For it, the only cultural institution appears to be the market, which is a universal cultural institution. So it is demeaning of certain kinds of cultural institutions and promoting of certain other kinds of cultural institutions, which is very problematic. And these are things that are starting to be explored. But in broadly speaking, I think although I'm sort of incapable to address the north-south divide, and I mean, because I don't understand the cultural nuances in the north as much as I do about Kerala and other things. But there could be very interesting work to be done over there as to how cultural deviations between the north and the south manifest or propagate through NLP methods for fake news detection as well. So
Maybe next for our PhD. Except for our research, right? Thank you. Thank you.
Is there any more questions? Or shall we conclude our session?
I don't think there are any more questions. So many thanks for this opportunity to talk to you, and it's a large audience and a very diverse audience as well. I hope you found something in this useful, and please do let me know if you have any questions or anything. I'll just put my email in the chat here so that. Thank you very much. I hope we can close this, right? And the one other session, 10 minutes, I think.
I think we have yeah. Okay.
On behalf of Department of MCA, I would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Deepak Padmanabhan for delivering such an insightful and thought-provoking session on fake news detection using AI. Dr. Deepak's expertise in artificial intelligence, coupled with his deep understanding of its societal implications, has provided us with valuable perspectives. We are truly grateful for the time and effort you have invested in sharing your knowledge with us. Your session has undoubtedly inspired us to explore new dimensions of AI in our own work and research. Once again, thank you, sir, for being with us today. We look forward to more opportunities to learn from your expertise in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elsa, and thanks everybody. Thanks again. Thank you.
The feedback form is available in the chat box. Please make sure you have submitted it as it is necessary to mark your attendance. The feedback form is available in the WebEx chat box. Please make sure you have submitted it, as it is necessary to mark your attendance. We will start the next session shortly. Now, moving on to our next session. It is our distinct pleasure to welcome Mr. Sunil Prabhakar as our esteemed speaker for today's Faculty Development Program session on social media content creation with AI. Mr. Sunil Prabhakar is serving as a consultant to the online section of Madhrubhumi, a leading national daily in Malayalam in Kerala. His role in Madhrubhumi Online is to bridge the gap between technology and content. Mr. Sunil is also a part of Google News Initiative's GNI fact-checking training network and has trained hundreds of working journalists and media students across India. Recently, he was invited as a panelist for a panel discussion on misinformation during COVID-19 pandemic organized by the US Consulate in India with fellow panelists from Johns Hopkins University. I welcome you, sir.
Okay. Good evening, all. I am Sunil, working with the Madhrubhumi, and thank you, Elsa, for the nice words. And today my topic is social media content creation with AI. It's a very broad topic. Social media content creation and even content creation for the e-commerce, especially in the rural segment. Recently, we conducted 2-3 workshops in NIRD Hyderabad in creating promotional content, that means product promotional content at a very low cost using smartphone and AI. So the content creation is a very interesting and topic, and every segment is now utilizing it. That means every segment is engaged in creating content at a very low cost with the help of smartphones and low cost devices and AI. NCERT, even the National Council for Educational Research and Training, they also conducted workshops on low-cost content creation, educational content creation using AI. So content creation is a very big topic, and social media content creation, it can be here in the social segment. It is actually for product development, marketing, and communication about the services, everything. So before entering to the actual content creation tools with the AI, I think I can explain something about the status of the social media to have a better understanding of the platform and to have an idea of how to utilize these tools to have to produce or create good content which will fit for your product promotion or marketing activities in social media. Let me share my screen now. 1 second. Okay. I hope my screen is visible now. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I will start from this screen. This is my topic for this 6-day online faculty development program in exploring the role of AI in evolving media landscape and rural entrepreneurship. And we can have an idea on the status of social media. It is in 2024, the last year. And as per the information from various agencies, it is estimated that 9 out of 10 internet users now use social media. They have 8 billion people in the earth, and more than 5 billion people are using internet currently, as per the information from various agencies. And an average rate of more than 10 new users every single second, 10 more users are added to social media. So, but this number, you may not actually misinterpret this number, because social media users may not interpret unique individuals, because one particular user may not be average. I think around each people in average, they are using at least 6 platforms: Facebook, Pinterest, X, what you call Instagram, IG, depending upon their age and depending upon their necessity. So many professionals are using LinkedIn, lot of platforms they are using. And keep in your mind that social is a behavior, it is not a media channel. It is only a behavior. Then this is the update information in January 2025. Around 5.22 billion people worldwide using social media, and around 63.8% of the global population. That is the actual thing. And China has got the most social media users, 1 billion users are there. And US, it is less than China. And the second place goes to India actually. And it is estimated that people spend an average of 2 hours and 19 minutes in social media daily. Every day they are spending that much time in social media. So on average, I already told you, an average people use 6.8 different social media platforms for each month. Multiple platforms. It is not actually unique. Okay. Then this is actually a projection on what you call the social media network user growth from 2018 to 2027. You can see that the growth is actually because the number is actually nearing the population, so there will be decrease in the growth rate. So that is also happening, and the growth rate is decreasing. On 2027, currently it is in 2025 it is 4.83%, and 2027 it is expected to be 3.59%. Earlier it was higher. In 2018 it was 13.48. This is decreasing, and it is not a bad signal that it is because nearing the what you call the global population. That is a reason. And what is the main reason for using social media? And the major reason remains the same. It is to keeping in touch with friends and families, and reading news stories, and filling spare time, finding content, watching or following sports, seeing what is being talked about, making new contents, watching live streams. All these are the major reasons. Somebody is talking, I think. Major reasons for using social media in India. This is actually for India. This is an Indian behavior. Then most use of social media platforms in India. We are actually focusing on India now. It is WhatsApp actually. It's a closed platform. Then comes Instagram. Then comes Facebook. Then Telegram, Snapchat, Facebook Messenger, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, ShareChat. But ShareChat is actually found to be increasing now. So the WhatsApp is the most popular platform in India. And Instagram, which is used by people between 14 and 34. Most of the people are from this age group, and it is that much because there is no wonder, because if you analyze the India population, most of them are young, still young. India is still young. That is the main reason. Then time spent on social media, and YouTube ranks first. And more people are actually people are spending more time on YouTube. It is calculated at 29 hour 8. This is actually average time per month active users per month data. This is taken from a report called VR Social Digital India report. It is available on the internet. You can just search for VR Social Digital India report. It is actually published in January 24, and we are expecting the report for the January 25 and by the end of this month. And Facebook ranks second with 23 hours 52 minutes. Instagram is 19 hours 50 minutes. WhatsApp is 16 hours 52 minutes. That's the time spent on. So people are actually watching a lot of YouTube videos, actually spending a lot of time in YouTube. That's a fact. And this is projected social media users by country in millions. And China, India is leading. You know that in India, it is around, China, it is around 1 million now, and it is all 1 billion now, but it is India in more than 800 million now, nearly 1 million. But it is expected that that means in 2029, this is actually the yellow one is actually the figures in 2023, and the orange one is the figures for projected figures for 2029. And it is expected that in 2029, India will overtake China in social media users, number of social media users. The population is already higher than China now, but in social media users, it is projected that India will overtake China. This is a very interesting fact that India is now, even now, India is the largest connected democracy in the world. And lot of people, and large number of people, as per the recent report published by the TRAI, Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, number of the internet users in India is increasing drastically, and India has got around 1 billion internet users, unique internet users in India. The population is only 1.4 billion, but we have got 1 billion. It doesn't mean that 1 billion people out of 1.44 billion people, clearly telling 100 crore people out of 144 crore people are using internet. It doesn't mean. Why? Because here people tend to use more than one connection. A person with a mobile phone with the two SIM in his mobile phone or her mobile phone, they may be using two connections. So this is not going to be a unique figure, but a lot of people, it is still growing. And in between 2023 and 2024, I think if you take January, the period from January 2023 to January 2024, the percentage growth in the population is only 0.9%, but the percentage growth in internet connection is around 3 times, 2.7%. So it is still growing. Actually, there is it may go beyond the population number in the coming years. Okay, that is a fact. So this is the project figure. So this shows, actually this fact or this information shows the power of social media in marketing activities, the power of social media in communicating with the people, the power of social media in discussing something with the people. Okay, then these are brand links to engagement on demonstrate ROI. In more people, you can see that more people who are using social media for marketing, they are sticking on engagement. They are not sticking on impressions or views. They are not sticking on clicks or traffic. And most of them are sticking on engagement, 69% engagement. Actually, 69% are sticking on engagement because engagement makes something viral. That's the principle. And the power of social media, again, you can, chat and messaging. And 96% are using social network, 92% are using search engines or web portals, 84% are using, shopping options, 58% are using maps, parking, 57% are using. So these are the what do you call it? The pickup. This information is taken from the Hootsuite Social Media Trends report in 2023. It's a little old report. And this is the new digital habits, actually evolving digital habits in social media. The first one is visual search, and second one is microblogging fragmentation, and third one is upskilling. So these are important things. Visual search, because search is actually, earlier we are actually concerned about SEO, search engine optimization. A lot of companies were there helping people in search engine optimization. Then it went into the voice search engine optimization because people started in searching with the voice. So companies started assistants, virtual assistants. In Google, we have this Google Assistant is there. Then Siri is there in Apple, and Cortana was there in Microsoft. So people are utilizing these assistants to ask some questions, inquire about some product, or getting some information. They started using voice search. So a new science evolved voice search engine optimization. Now it is visual search. People are actually focusing on visually you can search. Like Google Lens is a product visual search. You can search with Google. Even the Amazon has got the facility. In the Amazon app, if you want to have a product, then just to click a picture of that product, you can search inside the Amazon visual search. And even the major mobile phone manufacturing company Samsung is actually experimenting with Google for the visual search. Circle your search. It's a new feature where you can circle a visual to search on it. So the visual search is being popular. So visual search engine optimization is again, it is becoming popular now. Then microblogging. Nobody has time. Everybody is actually telling in a very, very short platform. So it is evolving and AI upskilling is evolving. Everybody is interested in AI upskilling. And as per a recent report by the Stanford University, the birthplace of AI, every year they publish a report on status index report of artificial intelligence every year in June. In this last year, it came on June 2024. And in this latest report, published in June 2024, the Stanford University says that India ranks first in the number of skilled people in AI as listed in LinkedIn. Among all the global countries, India has got the maximum number of AI experts listed in LinkedIn. So AI upskilling, everybody is actually looking for the AI upskilling in every segment. Even the government is initiating this thing. Government has got a website called india.gov.in, indiaai.gov.in, and a lot of activities are going on this area. Every segment, this kind of upskilling is happening. Okay, and the streaming is another one. Audience streaming size is also increasing. OTTs are coming. Subscriber video on demand is coming. All these are happening. And the YouTube advantage, as I said earlier, people are actually spending a lot of time in YouTube. And the major content categories watched by YouTube users are comedy, music, entertainment, culture, and how to. These are the important things. And 500 million views of learning related content on YouTube every day. People are using YouTube to learn something. And it is an actually interesting factor that 64% of the creator videos are over 10 minutes long in YouTube. And 81% of the video viewing occasions get almost people's attentions. And these are very, very, very important, especially for YouTube figures. You need to keep it. This is actually, this information is taken from various reports. And the social media performance loop, you can, what are the important things about the social media? And when you create content for social media, keep this in your mind. Insight, action, and impact are important, because what insight can find on social media that can inform the right actions to drive business impact. That means increasing the number of posts in social media may not do anything, may not bring to you anything. First you need to understand your customers. Then you need to create a strategy upon it. Then only you start creating content. So keep this mantra of these three words, that is insight, action, and impact. And social media marketers doubled down the generative AI in 2024. Actually, they increased. So you can, why they are using in social media. And they use in edit and refine text. Increased to 80% in 2024 compared to 2023. In 2023, it was 67%. Now it is 80%. And produce text from scratch, just using GPT, Gemini, or Claude, or any LLMs. It is around 17% growth found in this stage. 66 was there in 23 and 77 now. And see the completely revise and rewrite text. People are actually started using it to revise their text. They will do something by themselves, then will use AI to refine it. Okay, so 95% growth in this segment in an year, and develop new ideas 70% now. Earlier it was 56%. edit and modify images, people 42% great drastic change, 180% growth, 180% growth from 2023 in using, because you know that a lot of text to image models came in the last 2-3 years. We have a lot of text to image models. So people started using images, generate images, 86% growth. Okay. So these are the use cases for social media marketers in generative AI and helping markets for creating content. And these are the average posting thing. As per the Hootsuite report, Instagram, it is 3 to 5 a week. And Instagram stories, it is 2 per day. Facebook, LinkedIn, all these are the general things. And AI is actually helping marketers in writing captions, good captions for their post, add copy and scripts in multiple languages, and suggesting relevant hashtags and generating DM replies, direct message replies and comments. That means you can automate. If somebody is actually responding to your post, maybe through YouTube, maybe through Gmail, maybe through the Facebook or Instagram, you can automate it through the AI. Lot of such things are available, and creating images and short videos. Image create this image itself is created with AI. I use a text to image platform to create this image. This is an AI generated image in this thing. So people started creating images. Lot of tools are there, and Midjourney is the best tool. Then Leonardo, this is created with Leonardo. Leonardo.ai is there, which is available. I think they are providing 150 credits free each day, every day. Then Stable Diffusion is there. DALI is there. Lexica.art is there. Lot of hundreds of tools for creating images with a text prompt. Then short videos you can create. Lot of text to videos tools are there, just like the Runway ML or Kling or what you call Hagen. Lot of tools. Recently, Google introduced VEO, and lot of tools are there. The voice is breaking. Am I audible? Somebody is telling.
Yes, sir, it is audible.
Is it okay? And maybe due to some connectivity issues at your end. Okay. So come up with ideas, content ideas. You can use the LLMs, especially the large language models like GPT, Gemini, Claude, Perplexity. A lot of tools are there to generate ideas for your post, and drafting outreach emails or proposal for partners and influencers. A lot of things you can help marketers in social media can use AI. Then use AI with the social with the care, because if you don't use AI responsibly in the social media, it is going to worsen your case. For example, the responsible use, by understanding the need of your audience, understanding your promotional requirement, and without understanding and without using AI responsibly in this way, and it will create some issue. So the again strategically, if we lead the AI charge, then this is going to be in the reverse mode. Okay, so that is very important. Then it's a time for marketers to invest in AI education and training, because AI tools are helping marketers to keep up with increasing content needs and conduct research. And second thing is, there is still a learning curve for AI in marketing to be addressed. And third one, because every organization is now conducting training, upskilling their people in using AI responsibly. And AI, third one is, AI has changed how people search and how brands need to think about their online presence. So these things are much important in this case. And social media content creation using AI, we have a lot of recommendations in this segment. First one is train your AI tools. Depending upon the use, you need to train your tool effectively. So depending upon your data, depending upon your understanding, you can train your tool. Try using the same tools repeatedly so they learn your style and voice over time. Second, first one. Supply your company style guide to align AI with the brand standards. You need to teach AI. Provide website and blog content to help with the accuracy of promotional messaging. Because you can teach AI tool with your own content so that AI can respond accurately. Specify preferred content formats and structures to maintain the consistency. You can tell AI that I need in this format, I need it as a bullet at least, I need it as a paragraph, I need it in a casual language, I need it in a conversational form. In which form you require, you can teach AI. For AI image generators, upload brand approved visual elements so that you can create. Sometimes maybe you have a color scheme for your brand, a logo for your brand, everything. So you need to teach AI with this information. So never skip human reviews, that is and approval. That is much important. Don't allow AI to do everything. A human intervention is always necessary to get approval or to approve this thing. Otherwise, you will be in trouble. Okay. So think AI. AI is not a replacement. You consider AI as don't consider AI as a replacement. Don't consider AI as a destination. AI is not a destination. AI is only a vehicle to speed up your process. It will help you to speed up your process. So use AI in that responsible manner. Second thing is play around with all features. All AI tools, a lot of features are there for ChatGPT. Lot of features are there for Midjourney. Lot of features are there for Kling. So experiment all new and old features of these tools. And explore all these features on daily basis. Test tools, test and identify the tools or features that is useful to you. And use the repositories to find an appropriate tool, because a lot of repositories are there. There is a wonderful repository called AI tool repository called there is an AI for that.com. Somebody, I think somebody in this group can type it in your message. There is an AI for that.com. It's a very beautiful AI repository, generative AI tool repository, where you can find a tool with AI. You can visit this website. There is an AI for that.com website, and just search for, if you want to make a PowerPoint presentation, or if you want to make a short video, or if you want to make an image, if you want to make a social media post or Instagram post or Instagram reel, if you want to make a LinkedIn post, then search for a tool in this. There is an AI for that. This tool, this platform will bring you a lot of tools ideal for it. AI tools ideal for it. So generative AI tool repository. Use repositories. There is another one called opentools.ai. Opentools.ai is another one. Lot of such repositories are there. Make use of repositories to find an appropriate tool for you. That is very important. I am going very fast because I am getting only 1.5 hours. This is very short time to teach this topic, but going in a faster way. And anybody has got some issue with this thing, then you can ask in the I'll give you 10 or 15 minutes in the end to ask questions. So otherwise you can keep posting your questions on the chat box. Okay. Then third one is develop AI skilled manpower. Upskilling people is one of the main challenge of AI. Every organization is now doing it, including government. In Kerala government, task force for AI is that. In central government, they have a strategy. It is available on the Nidhi Aayog website. And every organization is now, CSIR is doing something, LXD is doing something, education, NCERT, education department is doing something. In the Tamil Nadu state, I think they started using AI for evaluating the answer scripts. So everybody is using, is engaged in, engaged in upskilling their people to use AI in a responsible manner in order to increase the output, in order to increase the efficiency, and in order to increase the effectiveness. So you in your organization, whatever it may be a small organization or a big organization, make AI as a mandatory skill. Earlier, which was there. During the computer age, every company was actually saying that basic computer knowledge is essential, is adding. Likewise, now onwards, you need to add this thing, basic AI skill is mandatory, is essential. Then train current members, train the current staff of your team, social team in using AI and list AI competencies. Lot of competencies are there. Maybe for creating images, maybe for generating tests, maybe for generating video, maybe for doing something, anything, because AI can do a lot of things. So the list out the AI competencies that your company or firm or organization require and list and add these descriptions of the competencies in your what you call advertisement for a job, and ask specific questions about the AI familiarity and experience in job interviews. Start asking questions about it, and add people who can responsibly use AI for content creation. Responsible, the word you need to underline, otherwise it is going to create a lot of issues. Then be aware of AI. AI is a tool to facilitate getting information and ideas, but it is not a magic wand. Keep it in your mind. As I said earlier, AI has been built by people and it is used by people, and without a human interaction or human insight, it loses all its essence and purpose. So it is not a destination, it is only a vehicle to speed up this process. So don't allow AI to control you. Control AI by you. That is important. And we have a lot of free AI tools with this thing. You can use, this is a list of tools by the Hootsuite. You can visit the Hootsuite website to find these tools. They are providing a lot of tools. They are creating a caption generator. You can use a hashtag generator, YouTube video description generator. They are providing YouTube title generator. They are providing username generator, social media bio generator, blog ideas generator, content ideas generator. All these are the tools provided by the Hootsuite platform for free. So you can visit the Hootsuite website and just search for in the Google to see these tools. Or otherwise, I can provide you the link where I can post. I think I can post it somewhere. Or you can just search for in Google. You can search for Hootsuite free AI tools, and you will end up in a free social media tools thing. I can get this link and post it in here. I think maybe in the application. Okay. Where I can post it. In the chat box, I can put it. Okay, I put in the chat box where you can find all these tools. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. That's a good way to interact with me. If you got it, then you can just, if you find it interesting, you can just put a letter, Y only in the chat box. Everybody can put a Y. If you are feeling some difficulty, then you can also say it. Just put a letter Y in the chat box. Okay, so I shared this link to you where you can find all these tools. Okay, then about the other tools. Because using this tool to create something. Create something means create a content. And explaining all these process may not be possible in this 1.5 hour time. It is already 8 now. I'm getting time only up to 9. And I think I need to spend some time for the Q&A also. So showing you all these tools are not is not possible, but I can tell you about some tools and show you how to use these tools in generating content for social media. Okay, then these free AI tools are easy to use, where you can find in this link. Caption Generate is provided by the Hootsuite. It's a social media analytics platform. For free, you can get this all these 8 tools from it. Then lot of another tools are there. These are the important tools. Hundreds of tools are there. These tools you can find that I can post you the link to the repositories so that it will be useful for you. That is, there is an AI for that.com posted in the ping. The another one is Open Tools. Open Tools, I have shared that link to you. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Got it.
Yeah.
So these are examples for generative AI tools repository, where you can search for a tool. AI will help you to find out a generative AI tool for your use. For example, if you want to get a transcriber tool to transcribe your video into text, editable text, then you can just search for an AI transcriber tool in this platform. There is an AI for that platform. It will, in a fraction of a second, the platform will pour you with hundreds of tools, variety of tools. Some tools you can use it in as an Android app. Some tools you can use it in iOS, that's iPhones. Some tools you can use it in the browser, in any, because all these tools are device independent and platform independent tools. All these tools are available in multiple platforms. You can use it in because almost all these tools are the cloud-based tools, so you can use it in any device, any platform. That is important. Then a lot of interesting tools. I'm actually listing out a very short number of tools which will help you in creating content for social media. First ones are the LLMs. What do you mean by LLM? Anybody can say it? What do you mean by LLM? You can post your answer in the chat box. Very good. Suguma Menon, thank you. Large language model. So the large language models are one of the, what do you mean by large language model? Is an AI model capable of handling the natural language in a very beautiful way. Am I right? Okay. So large language models can be utilized for creating scripts, getting ideas, editing your text, lot of things. Lot of use cases are there even for the large language models. And the first 3 are examples for large language models: ChatGPT, Google Gemini by the Google, and the Claude.ai. Then there are other language models you can, AI models you can use. Meta AI, which is available in your WhatsApp. You are familiar with it. Claude is an excellent tool, and there is a platform, a high-speed platform, which is called Grok, Grok, Grok.com. And another one is Copilot. Copilot is actually GPT itself. You can go to the copilot.microsoft.com to get it. Copilot. Cloud, you can get it at Cloud, C-L-A-U-D, cloud.ai. Okay. Then open LLMs are there, just like the provided by the LLM provided by this community, AI development community, which is also available. Which is, I can share that link. If you want to get all these links, I can share this link. Cloud is cloud.ai. Then open community is Hugging Face. You can get it this at Hugging Face. Okay. Then another one is meta.ai. Then you can have Copilot. Copilot. Then you can have this Perplexity, which is actually research centric. Then you can have Gemini. Then you can have this chat.openai.com, chatgpt.com. Okay, all these are examples for LLMs. I am actually giving, and it is advised that don't stick on a single LLM. Don't use ChatGPT alone, because every model's knowledge is limited. The training methodology used in every model is different. The content used to train these models are different. So don't expect same answer from different models. Okay, so do one thing. You can use a prompt, because you need to get acquainted with the prompting techniques. You can use a prompt in ChatGPT. Use the same prompt in Gemini, where you will get sometimes a better result. Sometimes Claude may give you a better result. But don't look for all 100 or 1,000 LLMs. Look for only 3-4 LLMs. You find out which LLM is actually giving a better answer for you. I think by interacting with some of these LLMs, in some days, you will realize that this particular LLM is fit for me. Okay, so practice like it. Don't stick on a single LLM alone. Then there are certain platforms which allow the use of multiple LLMs. Opportunity to have people. This is a wonderful site. I am actually already shared in the chat box. That is poe.com, POE.com. Poe.com is actually a platform owned by Quora. Are you familiar with the Quora? Anybody familiar with the Quora here? Nobody. Okay. Susank, Quora. Okay. Thank you. And this poe.com is actually managed by them, where you will get all these models, multiple models. You will get Grok Beta, you will get Cloud Sonnet, you will get GPT-4o, Oven, 11 Labs, Oven Mini, lot of things, and other image generation boards. You can get Imagen 2, Luma Photo, Flax, Playground, Ideogram, Stable Diffusion, and audio video tools like Runway, Dream Machine, Pika, then Cartesia, and other popular AI boards. It is available in this platform. This is a multi-tool platform where you can get all these things. So keep it in your mind. Then another one, similar one, is called LLM by abacus.ai. Similar one. I am putting it here. Chat LLM.abacus.ai. Abacus is again AM company where they are providing the similar one, just like the PO. It is available. It is thing. Then if you want more tools on especially supporting Malayalam, there is a demo website called anuvadini.actindia.org. It is only a demo website. Don't expect much performance by these tools from there, because they are providing a very, very low bandwidth cloud for it. So it may not work, but a lot of Malayalam or Tamil in the Indian language tools are available here. Okay, even you can go to another platform by the Government of India called pashini.gov.in, where you can find real-time text-to-text Indian language translator. It is available. That app is available for both Play Store and App Store. It is available from that link is available in this website, passionate.gov.in. Do you think these links are useful? Come by, or otherwise you can straight away set N. No. Okay, just to have your reaction, because I want to give you something relevant. That's only the thing. Okay, so lot of LLMs are there, a lot of other tools are there. You can get all these tools here. Then multiple platforms are there. As I listed here, Oli Writer AI is a social media writer. Actually, some LLM is working behind it. It's a tool provided by the Hootsuite, a social media analytic company. They are providing this thing, but it is not a free tool, completely free tool, but you can use to a certain extent. But you can use to have some post, create good posts for ideal for LinkedIn or Instagram and this content for this thing. Then Jasper is another one, Copy AI, Beautiful AI, all these are. Canva is again a multiple social media content creation platform, which is available for free, but AI features are there. It is important that AI features are not free in Canva. Canva is not providing the AI free. Joby Jacob is asking for some link. Which link, Joby? Which link you want? You can type it here. Type it here in the chat box. Okay. Canva is again a content creation platform. Some features are free in Canva. It is available as an app, and you can use it with a browser. The Android app is available, iOS app is available, Windows app is available, all apps are available, and you want the Oli Writer link. Okay, I can give you the Oli Writer link. Just wait. Okay, I'm posting it, copying and posting it. Okay, Oli Writer. It's actually provided by the. Okay, thank you. Okay, so Canva, then what you call Microsoft Designer and Adobe Express are similar platforms, which will help you a lot in creating content for social media. But remember, the AI features in Canva are not available for free. You need to subscribe it. But there is an interesting thing is that this premium AI features or the premium features are available for free for certain categories, especially school teachers. You can apply for the free account in Canva. And non-profits. If you are a non-profit company supporting rural development, you can request for a free premium Canva account in the proper channel. So Canva is free for thinking, and Adobe Express is again a similar platform, content creation platform, where you can create social media post. You can create, and very interesting element of Adobe Express that you can create one content and resize it for several platforms easily. Then animations you can create easily. Short videos you can create easily. Okay. So all these platforms are helping you to create content. These three platforms are very much important in creating social media content. Lot of platforms are there. I am listing only three. But these platforms are similar. As I said, GPT, Gemini, Claude are similar. Likewise, this Canva, Adobe Express, and Microsoft Designer are free, similar platforms. And they are both, all these three platforms are offering something free, but everything is not free. That you need to keep in mind. So you need to create a free Microsoft account. You need to create a free Microsoft account to access Microsoft Designer. You need to create an Adobe account to access Adobe Express. And Canva you can access through any email ID. You can access through any email. You can create your own account in Canva. And Joby Jacob is again, how can we apply for free Canva Premium? It is available for certain categories. It is in the homepage of Canva itself. It is, the information is given in the Canva. I can share the link to you. You can go to Canva, canva.com. All these platforms I can put it in the chat box. This is Canva. Canva for a education account is free actually, but I can put the link here. And Canva for non-freaks are free. Okay. Are you satisfied, Joby, putting all these links? And this is Adobe Express. And this is Microsoft Designer. Okay. So experience these platforms in creating social media. In Microsoft Designer, you can create images, you can create wallpapers, invitations, banners, posters, social media posts, even greeting cards, stickers, monograms, color book pages, backgrounds, avatar, collages, emojis, clip art, lot of things. You can do it in content. You can do it in Microsoft Designer. You need only a free Microsoft account. You can visit Microsoft.com and get some Hotmail or Outlook account, and a lot of things you can use it. And Adobe in Adobe Express, you can go to the Adobe Express website, and you can make a lot of things in Adobe Express. In Canva, you know that you can have mobile video, Instagram post, then presentations, social media posts, videos, printables, lot of opportunities are available, and something is available for free, but all features are not available for free. Certain features are under the paywall, and you need to subscribe it. It is actually comparatively cheaper, and they are providing around a yearly subscription, for an yearly subscription of around 4,000 rupees, I believe. Then in Adobe Express, you can also create social media post, documents, video, photo, and lot of generative AI features are there. For suppose if you want to fill your content with the rose flowers, you can easily generate it in new Adobe Express. All these features are not alike, and the important thing is that features are different to platform to platform. So as I said earlier, don't stick on a single platform, then use multiple platforms. Okay, then we will go to the, okay, are you benefiting? Nobody is telling nothing.
Yes, sir.
Sure.
Anything? I can break for 1 or 2 questions now. Any questions? No. Okay. Let me continue. Okay. So other platforms are the Runway, ML, Videograph, Sora, and Kling are alike. That means they are text to video generators. They can generate. Sora is by the OpenAI itself, the creators of ChatGPT, and Runway ML is another one, and Kling is another one, where you can create. Everybody is actually giving something free, not all free. All these are paid platforms, but they are giving something free. That where you can use these platforms to create content. And Runway ML is a best example for a text to video platform. Then Runway ML, I can put it in the chat box. Okay. Then you can use Kling. Okay. Then you can use Sora. You can go to Sora.com. Okay. Professor Deepak Palmer is asking a question. Any view on copyright infringement and data privacy while generating content through AI? Currently, no. This is issue with the what do you call the technology. That means we can say that is law deficient. We don't have any law restricting this thing here, existing law. And actually, somebody has filed some case against this AI companies. One in India, one in UK. It is, I think, this image platform. I forgot its name. They filed a complaint against Stable Diffusion that they're saying that they used their images to train their model. So the people started complaining about things because it may happen in the future. The law may come in the future. For example, you can use ChatGPT to write a poem. Just ask ChatGPT, ANA versus Open in New Delhi for use news. Yeah, okay. Something is happening actually in the global level. Something is happening, and you can use ChatGPT to write a 8-line poem or 10-line poem about something, maybe about rain. It will immediately generate a poem about rain, and then you can, as a continuing prompt, you can request ChatGPT to rewrite this poem in the style of William Wordsworth. It will certainly rewrite this poem in the words of in the style of William Wordsworth. So it is clear that the model has been trained with the complete works of William Wordsworth. So the how somebody can file a case against the OpenAI in using this content to train a model? Is there an existing law? This is a problem actually. Can you suggest any AI language learning app? You can use, lot of apps are there. You can go to the AI repository and just search for the language learning app, or even you can use an LLM. Especially you can download or install ChatGPT app or Gemini app in your mobile phone. Then start asking it. It can be as, so I want to learn English. I am actually going to start speaking English. Can you hear my language and what you call give suggestions for a better language? A lot of tools are there. Even you can use an LLM to do it. Okay. Somebody is asking a question. Who is asking actually? Okay. Professor Deepak, are you satisfied with my answer?
Sir, I have a different view on the same.
Yeah,
With
tell
your
me.
permission, if you want, I can share. Otherwise, I'm okay with keeping it to myself.
You can tell me what is
Sir,
your view on it?
Yeah, say AI require a certain data set for training AI tools.
Yeah.
Data sets, when you're using somebody's work, for
Yeah.
example, I want to create a work painting of Picasso's kind of a painting, and I'm
Yeah.
using all his painting as a data set.
Yeah.
Now, these particular scenario where it's not correct to say law is not existing. There is a clarity is missing. So all over the world,
That is a
question
problem. That, yeah. Okay. Okay. It is clear. That is, they are using it for training. Okay. But they are not creating a similar artwork or something using this thing. They are actually only using it for training. Actually, inside the technology, this is only for learning.
So this is precisely the question
Teaching
in
an
a
app.
copyright. Is a new work is created based on the same is a nothing but a derived work from a copyright.
There is an
a
ethical
prohibition on a derivative work also.
Yeah, sir. There is an ethical issue
So
in it.
there is legally it's a derivative work. Any work created based
Yeah,
out of the
you can argue
that
on it.
method is like
You can
yeah.
argue.
So that's
Everybody can argue on this, and everybody is arguing on this. It is continuing. It is okay. But the thing is that you are actually, for example, you are learning a lot of Shakespeare drama during your degree in English literature. Am I right?
okay.
Okay. Okay. You are using it for learning. I can say that this learning with this content, that means content generated by the William Shakespeare, is impacting in some level in your writing.
Yes.
Can you negate it?
See, this is precisely the point. Unlike human being, we are the company which like
yeah, there is a difference between human being, because human beings are slow in generating content after learning. But the problem is there is a issue with the speed, because the model who trained with a lot of data can generate things in a very faster way.
See, I would be not paid for my earlier work, and somebody using as a base, and he will create a new work. So that's a tension between the new work.
They are not using. They are not. For example, in the copyright law, if you are using a song for a particular purpose, maybe for an advertisement, it's a copyright violation as per the existing law. I'm okay. Okay. Then if you are using this thing for some other technical purpose, I'm saying that law needs to be updated in this segment. That is, I am calling that is law deficient. Some law deficiency is there.
I would say it's evolving, but still there are cases which are decided based on what is the law we have, and certainly we require more precise and clear law where there is little
Okay.
or less
Okay.
number of
Okay. That is
ambiguities.
correct. That is, we need to build laws. That is the thing. Okay. Okay. I think, Professor, we will stop this discussion now because others are waiting actually. Okay. It's very interesting. We will continue our discussion later, I think. You can directly contact me and. Right. Okay. So Sora is another example. Then lot of other generators. Kling, I already the King. Then you can have this Videocraft. I can share it. Videocraft. Okay. Then VEO by Google, VEO3. And I can say you the VEO3 link. Kindly, Suman Kumari is saying good evening. Kindly suggest some best AI tools for research purpose, like writing research paper data. It is not, this is not a place to share it because you can use AI to speed up your research. That is for true. But it's very difficult to say some tools, list of tools, and giving even a list of tools is not going to benefit you because it takes a lot of time. Because we are conducting workshops for people in using AI in teaching, learning, and research, academic research in universities. Last year, conducted digital university in Kerala, conducted one for other university. And conducted one for the Calicut University. Then it takes at least 7 days, a week time. And I think the next week in February, third week, I am conducting one at Mark Basilius Engineering College in Thiruvananthapuram. Same thing. So it is not easy, Suman Kumari. It is very, very difficult because a lot of tools are there. And getting the names of tools alone is not going to benefit you. Because knowing a tool and learning to use that tool responsibly in your area is something different, where you need to invest some time to learn in that way. Everybody knows how to use ChatGPT. Everybody is using ChatGPT, but only certain people know how to effectively use ChatGPT in their area, maybe in marketing, maybe in research or something. So knowing a tool, for example, if you give a bucket of paint and a brush, everybody can paint a wall. But if you give the same tool to an artist, he can generate a painting. He can draw a painting with the same tool brush. So something different. And sorry for it because it takes a lot of time. We have very, very, very little time on it. Okay. Thank you. We will meet on some other workshops like that. Okay. View and imagine, then I can share a post of blog post by the Google here, where you can read more about their Imagine and VEO products. It's currently, something is not currently public, but something is public. Okay. Then you can have the other set of tools, that is imaging tools. All these are image journeys there. Which is not available free. So I am not sharing this link to you, but it is a very interesting tool, but you can use Leonardo. Leonardo is actually giving 150 credits a day free, where you can create good quality images and shade it. Then you can use Lexica.art. stable diffusion. You can go to imagine.art, getting these links. Go to open art. Imagine.art. Okay. Lot of tools. Just search on this repository. As I said earlier, just search in the repository. Just search in the repository to repository means there's an AI for that or platform like this where you will get hundreds of tools. Just search for text to image tools. You will get hundreds of tools. You can have a very interesting recent tool is called Flux AI. I can, because it link is something tricky. This is the link. Flux1.ai is the link. Okay. So lot of tools are there to create images. So building or developing a skill in using these tools are something different. That is, I cannot provide in a 1.5 hour time, but I can actually advise you something, especially in creating lot of.
हमारे घर में ये हो गया ये कौन सा सेंट जॉन्स कॉलेज की एक गवर्नमेंट जॉब हो गया
Imtiaz Ahmad, can you
बस कैमरा
put off your microphone?
इन्होंने कैमरा रखवा तो है इसमें अब करे तो मर दोस्त एक एक बड़ांगा एक एक कार डाल लेता है
Hello, I think that Mr. can do it.
वो गेट टुगेदर करेंगे लास्ट ईयर जीत रहे कुछ एक एक बड़ांगा एक एक कार डाल लेगा है
Somebody is talking here.
अपाची तो वो तो कॉलेज में उल्ला अपाची इंडिया अपाची
ये ले मारवा इंगा आड़ता हो क्रिकेट ऐसा
Okay. So
ऐसी स्टॉप हो
then
आलू पीने को
I already explained a lot of tools in this thing. Then you can use these tools in an intelligent way. For suppose you want to create something in bulk. Maybe if you want to promote something in the social media, the similar thing. It can be promoting some rural activities, about the cleanliness, about the need for the to clean your surroundings and keep your surroundings clean. And if you want to propagate this message, sometimes you will have a document in doing it, some document. Then you can upload this document either in any LLM, maybe in ChatGPT or in Gemini or in Claude. Then you can give a prompt. I want to create some messages based on this document, public messages based on document. I require 20 messages based on this document, telling the people about the need for keeping your place clean. Then you need to create these words, these messages in less than 20 words, in a sentence in less than 15 or 20 words. You need to use casual language in this message and generate 20 such messages by reading and understanding my document. You can tell a model where the ChatGPT or Gemini can generate this much messages, ideal for you. Go through the messages. If you want to edit it, you can edit it. So you'll get 20 messages. And you can generate interesting images to be used with these messages using this text to image model like Leonardo. Otherwise, you may have your own image. Then keep these images in a folder. Then keep these messages one by one in your notepad, sentence by sentence in your notepad. Then there's an interesting feature in Canva where you can go to Canva and search for bulk creator. Before creating something, suppose if you want to create a Instagram post, you need to find a suitable Instagram post template, otherwise you can build your own. If you want to have an Instagram reel or a social media video, short video, then you need to click on that social video in the mobile platform and find an if you are good at designing, then you can find you can design your own. Otherwise, you can find a good template from it, free template from it. Then make necessary changes in the template if you want. Then go to the app section of what you call this Canva. There's a you can see a small button in the left side menu called apps. Click on the apps, and there's a search button in this. In the search box, you search for bulk create, BULK, bulk create, where you will find an app name bulk titled bulk create. Click on the bulk create app. Then it will open the bulk create features where you can add your data. What is your data? Your data is the 20 messages generated by you in the GPT or in Gemini. Copy paste it. Then upload this folder to the Canvas upload facility, your images, and link these images in the data. Immediately you will be able to create 20 posts, different posts with different images and different messages, where you can easily create 20 interesting messages. The State Agriculture Department is currently using this feature to communicate with the farmers. Interestingly, you can do all these things. So, Jansi Rani is actually, can you repeat? Okay, I can repeat. Okay. You can, if you want to see it, then I can go to Canva and I need to reshare my screen. Okay. 1 second. I need to get it. Okay. Where I need to reshare it. This is shared by me now. I need to share my sharing something else, my Google Chrome. Okay. Are you seeing Canva now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then I'm going to ChatGPT. I don't have an email, what you call, document with me. So I am just asking, generate 20 messages to teach rural people in India about the need of keeping their surroundings clean. Okay, use casual language. Each message must not, should not, go beyond, keep each message within the limit of 15 words. Okay, just running this thing. You will get 20 messages. Okay, I can go to Canva. I can go to Canva. So I will now create a social media thing, maybe an Instagram post. Instagram post. Okay. I will find an interesting template here. Maybe a template. I can use this template. I can edit the unnecessary thing here. I don't want this thing. Okay. I can change the message as well. Okay. I'm using this template. And I'm going to, if you want to upload your own images, then you can use these uploads and upload your entire image, and you need to keep it in a separate folder. Then click on the apps button and search for bulk create. And this is the bulk create app. Click on the bulk create app and click on the enter data manually. Enter data manually. Click on the enter data manually. It will open this data thing. And now click on the clear table. Then go to the ChatGPT and copy down the entire 20 messages. Okay. Then go to the design. Then like this is message. And post the entire messages here. I have 20 messages here. Okay. I have added the data. Okay. And click on done. Then I can click on this text. I can provide this message here and right click on the text and click on the connect data. Where there is only one thing, message, I can click on it. Okay. So I connected the data with this thing, then click on continue. So this is the entire 20 messages. If you want to delete something, you can remove the checkbox. Then click on the generate 20 designs. Immediately it will generate the entire 20 designs in a separate window. Keep your village, keep on clean, trash belongs in this, clean villages, create proud of it, keeping people daily, 20 things ready in a second. Okay, and in this case, where if you want to go to the bulk create and if you want to edit it, edit this message, where enter data manually, here you can click on the add image button to add your image. Okay. So your posts are created instantly. So these are intelligent features are available on these platforms. So time is very, very limited. Now it is around 8:50. I need to wait for some questions for at least 20 minutes and also for feedback. I think the coordinator is here. Elsa, are you here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. let us wait for the questions and feedback.
Okay, sir. If any of you have any questions, you can ask directly or you can use the chat box.
Okay, you can put your feedback here in the chat box. Sincere feedbacks. No questions. Ramya is asking, sir, how can we learn different tools? 1 second. How can where is your question actually? How can we learn different tools for usage of? How can we learn different tools or usage of ChatGPT? Okay, you need to take spend some time, Ramya. Otherwise, it's not possible. That means identifying a tool and mastering a tool are different things. So spend some time. Lot of courses are available. Online courses are available about the use of ChatGPT, effective use of ChatGPT in your segment. You may be using it for some marketing purpose. You may be using it for content creation, social media content creation. You may be using it for social media research, and an advocate may be using it for finding something related to him. So everybody is using in different context or the different use cases. So you need to practice it, which in which use cases you are using and which way you need to approach this. In ChatGPT is a very powerful tool where you can have analytics, data analytics, mathematics, even reasoning, anything you can do. And if you want to learn Canva or any tool like this, you can make use of an interesting AI tool called AI Studio by Google. In AI Studio by Google, there is a feature called the Stream Online feature, where you can even prepare what you call tutorials, video tutorials easily, and get this AI Studio, get this tool. It's free actually. You can click on the Stream Online, and you can open Canva in one of your Chrome feature. In AI Studio, you can connect your microphone, and just like in a Zoom or WebEx or in Meet, you can share your screen there, video screen there, and that's just to start asking the model, I want to make a YouTube thumbnail for my recent video in YouTube. Can you help me to do it in Canva? Just ask. Then the tool will tell you about how to use. It will tell you, you go to this, click on this thing, get a search for this YouTube thumbnail format. Okay, then you click on this select a template. If you don't want a template, you create your own. It will guide you to how to use this tool to make a YouTube thumbnail. That is how to use Canva into YouTube thumbnail. It will teach you. So A is in that level where you can use beautifully. Make use of these things, Ramya, where you can learn. So then after creating a video content in YouTube or any other platform using AI, is there a way to know whether there could be any copyright issues related with our content before posting it? It's YouTube itself will tell you. When you post something, YouTube itself will tell you. YouTube has got some copyright control feature which will tell you about it. Any other question?
Sir, we have a question by Dr. Smita Harikumar. How can I
Tell
use
me.
ChatGPT for creating presentation for taking classes?
Yeah, you can use ChatGPT for creating presentation, for taking classes. Okay. Multiple ways are there. Suppose when you want to, what is the questionnaire name actually? Her name is?
Smita Harikumar.
Smita Harikumar. Smita. You might have a topic to teach the students or make the presentation. Maybe a chapter of your textbook. Get the PDF of this chapter. If you don't have a PDF, you scan it with your mobile phone and make one. A lot of applications are there. Maybe you can use Google Photo Scan to scan your pages and make it a PDF. Then upload this PDF in ChatGPT. ChatGPT 4o is currently free. 4o is a multimodal LLM where we can input multiple type of files in GPT. That is multimodal. You can convey in multiple modes. You can convey with the image, convey with a PDF file, an Excel sheet, anything. So upload your PDF file, your chapter in the GPT. Then ask, give a prompt. Create content for a PowerPoint presentation by reading and understanding this chapter. Then tell about the format, in which format you want. I want a title and 5 or 6 bulleted points in each slide. Or I want a title and a short description within 100 words in each slide. I want it in a simple language because I am going to use it for students. Then I require, you can tell a lot of things. Then I require 10 slides. Then easily it will create a, what you call it, the content for this your presentation, and you need to copy it and make it in the PowerPoint itself. That's actually, it is going to be again a tedious task. But there is an interesting way where you can make a small change in the prompt. Instead of asking for the content, you can ask for write a Visual Basic Application code, write a VBA code. All LLMs are capable of writing computer codes. So write a VBA code to generate a PowerPoint presentation based on this chapter. You need to create all content by reading and understanding this chapter, no placeholders. I need a title and 5 bulleted points in each slide. I need it in a very simple language. I require 20 slides. Then it will write a program for you, a VBA code for you. Then copy this code. There is a copy button there. Copy this code. Go to PowerPoint. Press Alt F11. Shortcut is Alt F11. It will open the VBA window. In the VBA window, you can insert a new module. And after inserting the new module, you will get a space to paste your code there. Paste your code and module and run the code. Your PowerPoint presentation will be generated in a fraction of a second. So such interesting ways are there to generate PowerPoint. It is not easy to explain all these things in this very, very small time. Sorry for that, Smita. I hope you is satisfied with the current answer.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir, so much.
Okay. Sir, will this be applicable to writer? Sure, it is applicable for the writer presentation. Okay. Deepak Palmer, be specific to your prompts, because prompts you need to practice by yourself. There is a way for prompting. So that is actually a very broad topic again. Takes a week to learn again. Okay.
Sir, I'm aware of it. I'm using it. I was complimenting to your earlier answer.
Yeah. Very, very good. Thank you. Thank you very much. We will keep in touch, Professor. Yeah. Any other question? Otherwise, it is time is over. I think. I think Professor Shine is here, and Elsa is also here. If anybody has more comments on my session, you can put it here in the chat box. If you like it, you can put it here. Otherwise, you sincerely tell this is I didn't like this. That's all.
So we have few more questions in the chat box. Shall I read it out?
Yeah.
Okay.
If time allows. Okay.
Um,
Okay. Tell me.
so we have a question from Dino Elsa.
Yeah.
After creating a video content in YouTube or any other platform using AI, is there a way to know whether there could be any copyright issues related with our content before posting it?
I already answered it. YouTube itself has got the facility. While using YouTube Studio, when you upload the content, there is a way to add your title, description, tags, everything. And the second stage after adding this thing, YouTube will automatically check for the copyright infringement and will warn you about it. Okay.
Okay.
If it is copyrighted, there are two ways. You can publish it without getting money from it. The money will go to the copyright owner. Otherwise, you can remove the content from it. That's the way.
Are there any more questions you can ask?
Okay. Nobody is asking. Then we will close it now. Everybody maybe try it after the 3 hours, I think.
So shall I conclude the session, sir?
Okay, sure. You can conclude, and if somebody has got some what you call your feedback form is already given, then not an issue. Otherwise, you can put it in the chat box. Okay, thank you very much. And I think Dr. Shine is here to tell a word. Dr. Shine, are you here? No, he's not answering. Elsa, you can conclude the session now.
Yes, sir. We would like to express our sincere gratitude to Mr. Sunil Prabhagar for his insightful and engaging session on social media content creation with AI. We deeply appreciate the time and effort you took to share your expertise, particularly on the critical topic of AI in media and content creation. The session has been not only enlightening but also highly relevant to the challenges we face in today's rapidly evolving digital environment. We also got to know about many AI tools which can be used in different areas. Once again, thank you, sir, for your valuable insights and for enriching us with your knowledge. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm closing it down.
Now we have concluded with the third day of our FDP. We are deeply grateful to both speakers, Dr. Deepak Padmanabhan and Mr. Sunil Prabhagar, for sharing their time, knowledge, and expertise with us. Their sessions have significantly enhanced our understanding and will undoubtedly influence our future work. Please make sure to complete the feedback form for both the sessions available in the chat box. This is necessary to mark your attendance. For tomorrow's sessions, participants are requested to log in by 5:45 p.m. as the session will begin 6 p.m. Thank you, everyone. Everyone, please kindly fill the feedback form before we close the meeting.
Feedback for day 1, day 2, and day 3 is provided in the chat box. Those who have missed day 1 and day 2 can fill it now.